Could you ask them to, the pig?
Little tight?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, little tight.
Can you spell me a walk with me?
You saw I was supposed to have usher with me. She called me this morning. I don't think I'm gonna make it. You gonna be okay? I
I
said, man, there are only two people.
I should have
Sarah,
picked her up.
we picked her up. She lives right near us.
There you go.
Yeah, but nice where we live. It's hard.
She must have played this morning. And I bet you that this is the
You're only gonna have 17 people.
bingo. Kinda. No, I sleep coming up. The other guy was sleeping with stuff. You're not driving.
We didn't see sometimes. They were gone. They were red lights.
No, they were still light. They were snow signs. We just went through it.
Yeah, it's awful. At least they have done it. Very good.
Tom, ring the bell.
At least one. Good morning, how are you? Thank you so much for your parking lot is amazing, really, thank you. Oh, much better than yours. I hear you.
Tom, you don't have to get John a glass of water. Just get him that little shot cup. May not be too long to that.
right, there's the whole second.
In the middle of the night, you shot up in my head.
Oh,
So, two, so John, you couldn't possibly go to sleep. Yeah. No, I'm just saying, I'm so tired. I did not sleep last night. Last week, last week,
I made it to the second too many times.
amazing. It was good. I didn't exactly, I didn't know this is not John said wait till 5. John said we're gonna wait till 5.
I'll ring bells.
Oh, you can leave that.
We tried.
Yeah, parking lot for next thing.
And it's take
Because all the stop signs here are coming. Yeah, all the stop signs.
Yeah, I'm sure we do. Yeah, I got to the back of the car. Nobody else was thinking about that. It was helpful. It's a couple of times we've done it. There's somebody else on the trouble. Absolutely. This is our dog's first semester.
Good morning. My name is Kathy Cortez, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. Welcome to all who have come inside from the snow to be together in community. And welcome to those who are watching online. You too are a large part of our community, especially this morning. Mid-December is a time of anticipation. Maybe you're waiting for the snow to be over, or waiting for the days to lengthen, or waiting for Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, or waiting for the quiet miracles of winter. Or maybe you're just waiting for the holiday workshop to start. The service today will be a bit shorter, so you have plenty of time to enjoy the tea, and yes, coffee, and goodies after the service, and participate in the holiday workshop. So, welcome to this Unitarian Universalist community where all people are valued. Our worship team today is led by our senior minister, Reverend John Morehouse, our director of learning and family ministries, Dawn Star Sarah Rochelle, and our worship associate, Tina Adams. The music today is under the direction of our music director, David Brown, accompanied by Jody Brown on piano, and all of you who raise your voices to sing along. Special thanks to our great AV team. They keep us connected to you at home and with what's happening in the service. There are many opportunities to celebrate in community during the month of December, so please look at the list on the back of the order of service or check out the calendar online. For now, please silence your phones and join me in our unison affirmation. Together, we transform lives through love, service, and our welcoming faith.
In igniting this chalice, we cast upon it our hopes and intentions for all that is positive in our minds and in our hearts. May this precious light shine on. Now please rise in body or in spirit as we sing from our gray hymnal, song number 222, Mi Imalel, using the English translation of the Hebrew.
The story I'm going to tell you is a true story. It happened in 1993 in Billings, Montana. So one night in December, a kid named Isaac Schnitzer was doing his homework when he heard a crash. Isaac and his babysitter ran to see what had happened, and they found that someone had thrown a rock through his bedroom window. The electric menorah, which had been glowing in his window to celebrate Hanukkah, was knocked down onto the floor. They looked outside, but whoever had thrown the rock was gone. They called his parents, who came straight home. His parents called the police chief, who came right over. The parents all talked. The grown-ups all talked. Isaac listened. The police chief said that there were some people in the town who were putting up flyers and spray painting graffiti with hateful words against black people and Jewish people and anybody they thought was different. Isaac realized that the police chief and his parents and his babysitter all thought somebody had attacked his house because he was Jewish. The chief thought it would be safer if they took down their menorahs so nobody could target them again, but nobody in the room thought that would be fair. Isaac and his family shouldn't have to hide who they were. So Isaac's mom invited a TV news reporter and a camera crew to come interview her and take video of the broken window and the knocked over menorah. She wanted everyone to know what had happened and that it was wrong. The police chief and some other local leaders called a community meeting. At that meeting, people talked and talked and talked and talked and talked and talked, because that's how community meetings work. And they talked about what they could do to fight back against whoever it was who was putting up those flyers and making the graffiti and had thrown the rock. And there were lots of ideas, because that is how those meetings work too. But one of the ideas was that they decided to encourage everyone in Billings to put menorahs in their windows. Instead of the Jewish families having to take down their decorations to hide, everybody else would put up some extra decorations to protect them. And that is what happened. People copied pictures of menorahs and passed them out and taped them up in their windows. Kids talked about it in school and convinced their families to do it. Businesses bought in and put up menorahs in their shop windows. This didn't make whoever was doing the hateful things stop right away. There were more stones thrown at houses and businesses that were displaying signs with menorahs and words encouraging peace and tolerance. But that just made other people more determined to make things better and make Billings a safer place for people who were different from each other in all kinds of ways. The local newspaper even printed a menorah picture for people to cut out and put up. And one day, Isaac's mom took him for a drive around town. They drove slowly through his whole neighborhood, and every single street had at least one house with a menorah in the window. Lots of streets had more than one. Hundreds and hundreds of houses all displaying a menorah to keep their neighbors safer. Slowly but surely, we'll stay there. Slowly but surely, the acts of hate began to slow down and stop, and the people of Billings told each other this was a gift that they had given to themselves, and that it was the best gift ever.
Our December shared offering outreach goes to the minister's discretionary fund. Disbursements from the fund are intended to assist individuals in need of emergency or critical assistance, community organizations, and other UU churches with unforeseen needs. The fund is entirely supported by donations from members and friends. It has been used for such needs as rent assistance, prescriptions, food, utilities, and other foreseen and emergency expenses. It is a lifeline to members of our congregation and our larger community. You may give your offering with cash, follow the instructions on the screen, or use the QR code in the order of service. The offering will now be gratefully received. Will the ushers please come forward? our congregation's ritual called Candles of Community is where members share a joy, concern, or sorrow and ask us to light a candle for them. And as we do so, we recite these words together. We hold you in our hearts. Today, no one has come forward to publicly light a candle, but I would like to light 2 candles, lit for the beginning of Hanukkah this evening. The first one for sorrow, that 29 people were injured and 11 people were killed last evening in a mass shooting at Bondi Beach in Australia, targeting Jewish citizens. For all those who were there, experienced it, and lost their lives, we hold you in our hearts. And I'd like to light another candle for joy that Hillel International's been promoting Jewish belonging and resilience within the student body, promoting Jewish pride. And that is a joy for all the students. We hold you in our hearts. And we light a candle today for all of your joys, sorrows, or concerns that are unspoken or too deep for words. And we hold you in our hearts.
Thank you all for coming, those of you here in the room, for braving the elements. One of the disadvantages of living next door is I have no idea what the roads are like, so I depended on reports from various staff people to kind of give me an idea, but I understand the roads right around the church were the worst. So thank you for making it safely. And for those of you who are watching online, which I imagine is a great many of you, thanks for tuning in and being part of us. The Holiday Bazaar is open after the service, so hop in your car and come on down. I'm shameless about that sort of thing. I think it's great. This time of year brings out so many stories and so many traditions, and it's mostly about how light overcomes darkness, about how we can find our way back in hope when we have lost our way. And I think it's particularly appropriate today in this beautiful snowy day as snow hangs from the branches of the trees and makes walking perhaps a little difficult and driving maybe even more so, to remind us that even in the cold there is hope. As we'll talk about a little more next Sunday, the holiday that begins this evening, the holiday of Hanukkah, is, I think, complicated. It is a war story, but it celebrates the light of hope despite the darkness of war. And just as the actions of the state of Israel are not the same thing as Judaism, which I really want to expand on next time, it is important for us to remember that hope can be and can find a place in darkness. My colleague Roberta Finkelstein said Hanukkah is recognized and celebrated because it has so much to teach us about mystery. The story is, of course, this one. In 168 BCE, there were an Israelite people who were living in the Greek Empire at the time in Judea. And theirs was at that time a very modest community of merchants and teachers and farmers and shepherds. They had over the years, of course, as with all empires, endured wave after wave of conquerors, and they survived exile and restoration. One group, the Maccabees, took back control of the temple in a war and wanted to rededicate the temple with the light of the candle, with the light of the lamp, with the oil, with the sacred oil. They thought they only had enough oil for one night, but in fact it burned for 8 nights. And so hope over darkness once again happened. Mystery is part of the holiday season. It's part of the holy day season. Where do we find the strength to face that oppression? Resilience in the face of defeat after defeat. Perhaps we're feeling that way now. And why do we continue to practice religion in the face of prejudice and repression? The hope for the holidays is rooted in the mystery of that eternal struggle, that tension which always gives way to joy. Richard Rohr says famously that many mystics speak of the God experience as somehow falling into an abyss and also being grounded. It sounds like a contradiction. How can we fall and also be standing? But there is a limitlessness, an unknowability, a void without boundaries. And that's why we celebrate Hanukkah, at the edge of what we know and what we can never know. And it's why I still believe in the gods of December. All the wonderful holidays, Hanukkah, the solstice, Christmas, Kwanzaa, I still believe in Santa Claus. Whether Santa Claus is real or not is up for you all to decide in your own way, but I believe, as all we should. A story is never just about a story. It's about light and how light returns and how love finds its way. The story of the Christmas menorah is yet another story about finding hope in darkness. But there are other smaller stories which I think are really heartening at a time of darkness. When 9-year-old Oscar Wilkins heard that he'd been given the role of Elvis the Elf in the nativity play at his primary school several weeks ago, the alliteration left him a little confused about what to tell his parents. Coming home, Oscar's sister said neither he nor the school couldn't quite communicate the elf element to this Welsh family. So they sought out a costume of the Graceland Star, only realizing, as he did when he stepped out on stage. But hardly letting it become an error, and this is the magic of the story, Oscar embraced his starring role and found the whole thing hilarious, as did the entire audience in the 3 performances of the play. His older sister, Jade, said the audience couldn't help but fall in love. We'd asked him if he was sure he meant Elvis, with the sparkly costume, and he said, yes, that's what it is. His letter said a sparkly costume of Elvis. It didn't say Elvis the Elf. And so they all thought it was Elvis Presley, and somehow they were going to take a take on the old nativity story. But it didn't turn out that way. But the best part about it is that it set off a little bit of a movement within England and Wales, where all kinds of children were showing up with Elvis costumes at holiday plays. And that's the sort of thing that I talk about, hope, the significance of hope. But there's another part of this story that I don't think gets told and perhaps isn't as obvious, and that is that Elvis Presley, for some of his faults, but for many of his virtues, was actually a fierce hero of equality. In the 1960s, when he was famous, the music venues tried to get Elvis to sing without his chorus, most of whom were African American women. Elvis refused. If they weren't going to sing with him, he was not going to show. And when they had a parade for him in Nashville, he made sure he sat in the convertible with the African American women going down the street. We tell stories like this one of Elvis right alongside the sacred stories of December because they are true, not necessarily in fact, but in meaning. As my colleague Kimberly DeBoos said, we tell stories, we put our faith in them, we act out the events, we celebrate them, because that's the power of these stories. They're the too good to be trueness of them is actually the point. Who remembers that George Washington chopped down a cherry tree and said, I cannot tell a lie to his father? Who knows if there was a cherry tree? But we want to use it as a way to express a certain kind of character of our first president, a character that we would wish would return soon. We tell these mythic narratives all the time about people living today because we do make human mistakes, and yet we are still, shall I say, redeemed by the fact that we believe in the best of one another. Our brains are wired for stories, and we tell stories as we have been doing since days on the savannah. It's an endless loop. It's how we learn. And the stories don't stay static. They actually change with time. And that's, of course, the truth of oral stories. They change with time. The same is true, of course, of the sacred texts that we love so much, as we'll do later, the Bible readings. They aren't about the factuality of it, it's about the meaning of it. And when it comes to sacred stories, we should not really be asking about them being factual, but finding out if they're helpful. Do they lead to us becoming more compassionate people? Do they lead to generosity and hope? We don't need to interrogate the facts. We only need to know that they inspire. When we get caught up in the details, we might actually miss what matters about telling the stories, about the night that the oil burned for 8 more nights and a baby being born. Because what matters is that there's always a glimmer of hope to the holidays, always a little bit of light, and that these things exist because we exist together, and that we are the light of one another. I'm going to read a benediction quickly, and then we're going to extinguish the chalice, and then after that we're going to sing Joy to the World. And I'll invite you to stand, and we'll sing the first verse, and then you can sort of hum the second and third verse as you walk out into the bazaar. My closing words from Ross Stafford. All you have to do to keep the fire burning for a little while is stoke it with your life. Don't allow the fire to go out. Pass it on. That is the reason for us being here. We extinguish the chalice, but not the fire in our hearts. So may it be. And let's stand and sing together the recessional song, Joy to the World.